But he
And then
is,
there's Bethany.
And then there's Bethany, which is also an interesting story.
It is indeed. So
do you remember it, or do you want me
back
to?
in the day, and I don't remember
Way
exactly when
early.
it was, like when we were looking for and considering the boy from China, we were looking at some other
It
things.
was early on.
About that time, there was a little girl from Thailand who was 3 years old, and it was Bethany. And so we had considered, we went through the agency and asked if we inquired about Bethany and about whether it was possible, that wasn't her name, whether that was possible for us to adopt her. And they told us without reservation, no, because we were too old
Back then.
and we had too many kids, and that was when we only had like 2 adopted kids.
Well, 3 or 4, I don't know.
We didn't have, but I think their limit was
Every country has their rules.
This was like one more than we were allowed to have, and they had an age limit. I think it was 40 or whatever the age was, and we were past that age as well. So we were marked off the list as incompatible, not viable.
And we
parents
understood that. We understood it.
For Bethany. So fast forward about 4 years, and again we're happy with our 5
Family's
blind
growing.
kids that we have, and they're just wonderful. And again, the phone rings,
Yeah, it did.
and
it was the agency who had said, you had inquired about this little girl many years ago, and we're wondering if you're still interested. Another family in a different state had adopted her. Same story.
when she was 7, had adopted
her needs go beyond blindness, and it turned out to be a little bit much for them. She fits right in here, and that's all fine, and so I said, of course, and we agreed. We always agree. Neither one of us does this alone. We're always in agreement. And
so she was with that family 6 or 7 months, I guess.
In a different state.
And
we had to go through the process.
There's the adoption process is managed by the states and the social workers in each state.
Sometimes
and there's
long.
interstate compacts and interstate relationships, and the agencies have to be on both the sending side and the receiving side, and there's a lot of legal hurdles to go through to do interstate adoptions. In this case, and her adoption was not final with that other family. So there were many other kinds of situations that had to take place, not only with them, with their agency and which was a different agency than our agency, but anyway, when it came down to, we had to satisfy the government of Thailand with this kind of scenario as well, and so that again took a while. It took 2 or 3 years.
We did have to get permission.
We got her pretty quickly.
All things considered.
All things considered, a week or 2 weeks. When they signed the papers, you have to go down and when we took possession of her, transferred her from the agency, you have to stay in that state.
Right.
Until the states agree that the transfer can take place, and all the social workers, so they want to, this is for anti-child trafficking laws. So they want to make sure that the social agencies have these kids on the radar. So they knew, the agency in Florida knew that we had her in Florida, but we couldn't leave the state until we were given authority to be for them to transfer to the agency in Virginia so that we could come home. And so that took a while, but it didn't take as long as it could have taken. It could have taken 3, 4, 5 weeks.
We did have to get the home study done before we.
Yeah. So there were some hurdles there, but we ended up bringing her home.
She's doing very well.
And
she fits right in, and we love her. She's a sweetheart, very helpful, very loving, very kind and friendly, and great kid. She's a great kid.